Welcome back to another edition of Fly Tying for Beginners with Jim Misiura. I had a request for an October caddis wet fly, so we're going to tie an October caddis pupa. The materials we're going to use, I have this is the Lively Legs Lip Splitter 470 size 12. It is a Scud shrimp nymph hook. One extra strong and one extra short. This is a size 12 though, so it's kind of a large one. I have a 2mm black bead on there, and this is not a tungsten bead. It's just a regular bead. And the reason I'm not using a tungsten is because I don't want this to go very deep, because with pupa, they're best fished from the middle to the surface. So you can put a small bead on there to get it break through the water, or you don't have to have any weight on there at all, and that'll keep it even closer to the surface. Then we're going to use, I have my October caddis dubbing, and this is a mixture of I think it's a mixture of Antron and deer hair dubbing. You can see the bigger pieces in there, the deer hair, but I'm going to probably pick the deer hair out if I could. And then for our rib, I'm going to use tying wire, and this is going to be black, and this is really thin. You could actually probably tie a fly with this wire instead of using thread. And then for our wings, what we're going to use is, here we have, and this is Raffia, and this actually was one piece, but where I got this is a kid's hula skirt. You could get an adult size hula skirt too. It's all made with Raffia. If you go to Party City, I saw them there, and there's several different colors. This is a tan one or a cream one, and basically what I do with it is this was stuck together, and I peel it down until it's like 1 or 2 thicknesses, and it splits rather easily. So, and you buy a hula skirt, and you're gonna have your grandkids will be using this. That's how much that's how far or how much you get with it. Now, and the thread I'm going to use is going to be a tan thread, although the color of the thread isn't real important. And this is probably about a 12/0 or so. So I'm going to start the thread behind the bead and put a few wraps right there. Kind of hold that bead in place, but it doesn't matter if it slides on you. Just push it right back. And we're going to bring that thread down around the bend slightly. I'm holding my thread at a 45-degree angle so that each wrap is getting pushed right into position, and you can go relatively quick with that by holding that there. And I'm going to take it to where, let me put it on this side, it's in back of the barb of the hook. Now I'm going to put my rib in. Like I said, this is a really thin wire. This is a really thin black copper wire. I'm going to tie that in, and I'm going to take that back just a little bit more. You want to be back around that bend there a bit. And then give it a few wraps to secure it. And you don't have to get them touching, because we're going to put dubbing on there, and that's going to block everything. Now I'm going to turn my hook upside down. You could actually even see the wire, the black wire in there. I only have 6 or 7 wraps on there past the tie-in point. The reason I turned the vise upside down, or the hook upside down, is so I can get my fingers in there to dub it. I'm going to put some beeswax on there. And my fingers are really dry today, so I'm going to actually have to put a little bit of moisture on them. And usually I just take a little bit of moisture off the corner of my mouth. And here we have, and we're going to take this and we're going to stretch this out. Just like this. And then we're going to put it on. I usually start closer to the bottom with it. Put that little bit of moisture on your fingers. And make yourself a nice tapered dubbing. You want it pretty skinny at the top, or closest to the hook. And then it can get a little bit bigger as you go. But remember, like I say all the time, you can always add more. So I'm going to wrap this. I'm just turning my vise just to kind of avoid that hook point. And we're going to take this up. And like I said, you can always add more, and I need to add more. So I'll go ahead and take another small pinch. And you can almost have this dubbing the amount you want. This should actually float in the air if I let it go and let it float, but you won't get that on the camera, so just small amounts, because again, you could always add more. And we're going to bring this up. I'm going to stay a good one hook or one eye length in back of the bead, so you could actually almost make a little bit of a taper there, and then bring it forward. Now I'm going to take my rib and wrap that, and you want to hold this and wrap it pretty. You want to wrap it pretty tight. I mean, don't pull so tight that you break your wire. But we're getting a nice segmented body there. We'll bring that right up to the eye, or up to the head area. And then that very thin wire just breaks right off. Now I'm going to take my raffia, and you want that wing to be about, not quite the width of that hook gap, maybe 3/4 the width of the hook gap. But you see, I have it cut at an angle right there, so I'm going to put it on the far side first, and I'm going to put it there, and I'm going to hold it underneath. So it's going to be underneath, and I want that to come back to no more than the end of the body. Let's take a soft loop. Oop. Let's see what happened there. There we go. And you can see it kind of split there a little bit, but the nice thing is this raffia is not going to split and actually get ripped off the fly. And now I'm going to go ahead and trim this. I'm going to trim that close. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the angle on this, on the other side. And I'm going to tie this one in on this side. You can see right through, so you just measure it to be the same as the opposite side. Now I'm just going to trim this off. And I got a little bit of cleaning up to do there. I'm going to hold my wings, just kind of pull those little pieces of raffia back. we're going to bring our thread back to where that body starts. There we go, we got it on both sides, nice, going under. Because when caddis emerge, their wings and things come out from underneath them. And now one material I forgot to tell you we're going to use is partridge. And if you buy a partridge skin, you get a couple of different colors on here. You can see down closer to the head, it's lighter. The shoulders are lighter. But I'm going to take one right off the back. And here I pulled one from the back, and it has a little aftershaft feather there. This little fluff right there, that's called the aftershaft feather. We're going to pluck that off. We're going to put that on the side. Now I'm going to take my feather. This one's a little ratted right here, but I'm going to remove the hackles or the barbels from the top of this feather. I'm going to hold the tip, and I'm going to pull them. They come off very easy, so you have to actually be a little careful when you do that. Then I'm going to remove the fluff from the opposite side. And this is what we're going to end up with. I'm going to grab the tip, and I'm going to pull the other hackles to the rear. And I'm going to tie this in by the tip. And then we can go ahead and trim off that tip. Now I'm going to take my hackle pliers and I'm going to wind this, and it came off my hackle pliers. And that hackle is going right towards the back direction the way you want it. Then we're going to tie that in. There's only like 2 wraps on there. And then you can break it off or trim it off. I'm going to take those couple hackles that are sticking out right to the top. I'm going to trim them off. Like I said, everything on a Caddis Pupa is hanging off the bottom. So you want to keep that all hanging off the bottom there. Now, if you'd like, you can go ahead and take a mallard flank or something like that and put antenna on there. It's really not that necessary. But now I'm going to take that aftershaft feather, and I'm actually going to dub it onto the thread. But I don't need a lot, so I'm going to take half of this and trim that big fat stem off the bottom. Do need to get that moisture back in my fingers. You can actually pluck the fuzzy barbels off the feather if you want. We're going to wrap this for the head. And we're going to make that to 2 wraps. And then we got some, with that fuzzy aftershaft feather, you're going to get some movement out of that also. Go ahead and take our whip finish. Get that right behind that bead. Tighten that up. Take your poke and snip cuticle trimmers. And we're going to go ahead and put some of the head cement on there. And the head cement I use is Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails. Put it right on the top of that. Actually even got some of it on the head there. But here we have an October Caddis Pupa. Hope that you learned something from this video. Hope that you would subscribe to my channel. Please refer me to your friends. Please visit my sponsors and let them know I sent you. If you'd like to purchase this or any flies that I make, go to etsy.com/shop/theflymanjim. And if you don't see it, just send me a message and we'll figure out what you want. And most of all, I thank you very much for watching my videos.